Right, let's dive straight into this explainer and build a system that finally stops you from burning out while creating content. Look, if you've ever felt the absolute soul-crushing exhaustion of pouring your heart into a project only to watch your analytics completely flatline, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going through an absolute masterclass in content efficiency.
Welcome to the creator's journey. It's a place where we constantly see this heartbreaking reality, spending 100 hours on a single piece of content that just completely bombs, versus the incredible power of producing 3 highly strategic pieces in only 15 hours. We see people constantly spending way too much time obsessing over the edit, which honestly just kills their consistency. Today, we're going to fix that. Here is our game plan for today's explainer. We'll hit 1, the minimum viable video. 2, nailing the holy trifecta. 3, the creator's toolkit. 4, AI as your co-pilot. And 5, the quality control system. We're unpacking this entire growth playbook step by step so you can turn a painful 9-hour grind into a totally streamlined workflow. Starting us off, section 1, the minimum viable video. So what does this actually mean? A minimum viable video, or MVV, is all about consistently uploading content that meets a solid baseline standard without over-investing your precious time in unnecessary perfection. The golden rule here is to just work with what you have. You literally don't need a fancy studio to get going. Even a basic camera and a simple gray background work perfectly if your core idea is solid. Your energy should be focused purely on what actually moves the needle, which is idea generation and packaging, not endless editing. And that brings us to your ultimate goal, the magic number 3. 3 uploads a week. Now you might be wondering, how on earth is that possible without a massive team? Well, it all comes down to batching. Here's a massive time-saving hack for you. Generate 30 ideas all at once during a dedicated brainstorm, and then sit down and record 6 to 12 of them in a single sitting. Doing this shrinks your total time spent per upload from 9 hours down to just 3 to 4 hours. It's a total game changer. Moving right along to section 2. Nailing the holy trifecta. Now, there are some incredibly strict rules when it comes to your title, thumbnail, and intro, what we call the holy trifecta. When you're using beginner-friendly tools like Canva, you absolutely have to limit your thumbnail text to 2 to 4 words max. You'll want to zoom in chest level or closer on the main subject to really catch those engaging facial expressions, and always apply the rule of thirds for visual balance. If you're talking about a job or a side hustle, drop a salary or a number in there, because the data proves that drives clicks. Also, it's crucial to remove the current year to keep your content timeless. Slapping 2020 on a thumbnail just dates it and kills your views later on. And finally, use a tool like Thumbs Up TV to preview your work just to make sure you aren't accidentally covering up that length indicator in the bottom right corner. I absolutely love this strategy. Where they made an idea shine, you will polish it until it's mirror, finish, and perfect. This is the core of the ICHN method. You really don't need to reinvent the wheel every single time. Think of your competitors as your lab rats. You can find Muse content that has already proven the concept works, analyze exactly where they succeeded and where they dropped the ball, maybe their contrast was awful or their intro dragged on forever, and then you polish their proven idea into something far superior. But how do you actually make that happen efficiently? That brings us to section 3, the creator's toolkit. Instead of getting totally overwhelmed by endless software options, just use this streamlined toolkit. For recording, grab OBS. It's completely free, and it records directly to your computer so you can easily run quick test takes and avoid wasting time on bad footage. For editing, stick to CapCut if you're a beginner. Seriously, don't waste hours learning a heavy pro tool like Premiere Pro unless you absolutely have to. For your thumbnails, Canva is incredibly effective, and like we mentioned, Thumbs Up TV lets you preview how your art looks across different devices. And for research, vidIQ and Keywords Everywhere are going to help you find exactly what high-volume search terms your audience is actively hunting for. Now, as you start to scale, team management becomes absolutely essential. And hey, even if you're a solo creator right now, setting these tools up today prepares you to seamlessly hand off work later. Slack is your go-to hub for remote communication. Loom is just brilliant. You use quick screen recordings instead of dragging your whole team into long, exhausting Zoom calls. Asana, or even just a simple Google Sheets content bucket, is how you keep track of ideas from that first spark all the way to publishing. And Google Workspace makes sure you have control over access and can collaborate live on your scripts. Let's keep the momentum going with section 4, AI as your co-pilot. The really crucial point here is knowing the difference between your AI tools and knowing exactly when to deploy them. On one hand, you've got ChatGPT 3.5. It's lightning fast, which makes it perfect for building out initial script structures or summarizing long articles. On the other hand, we have ChatGPT 4. It's a bit slower, sure, but it is highly creative. You want to leverage 4.0 to rewrite clunky sections or generate highly specific, context-rich meme descriptions, mostly because it just grasps the nuances of internet humor a lot better. Then we have specialized AI workflows, which can save you massive headaches. Perplexity is amazing for grabbing fast, properly sourced definitions to drop right into your scripts. Otter.ai gets you full transcripts, meaning you can skip watching a competitor's full 30-minute video just to extract one single anecdote. 11 Labs is an absolute game changer. You can literally clone your own voice. So if a sponsor asks for a pesky last-minute script tweak, you just type it in instead of dragging yourself back into the recording booth. And Fathom Note Taker just sits in your Zoom meetings and summarizes everything, so you never miss a critical action item.
And that leads us to our final stop, Section 5, the Quality Control System.
Look, moving fast doesn't mean publishing garbage. You need a rigid 4-step safety net. Step 1 is idea generation. This is where you make rational decisions, checking view ratios and niche alignment after the initial hype of your brainstorm has faded. Step 2 is script writing, where you fact-check, ensure your anecdotes make sense, and verify your holy trifecta is locked and loaded. Step 3 is video editing, where you visually review the flow. And Step 4 is the final checkpoint, your ultimate optimization step before launch. When we dig into those video editing checks, using a tool like Frame.io is highly recommended because you can leave time-stamped feedback directly on the footage. You're checking for consistent audio levels, making sure your voiceovers are boosted and crystal clear. You're watching for smooth scene changes to avoid those jarring, choppy cuts that just ruin viewer retention. You're verifying consistent color grading across all your shots and making sure any text on screen is actually legible without creating a bunch of visual clutter. Then comes the absolute final step before the world sees your work, the final launch checks. Confirm your 1-minute intervals for ad timing so the platform actually honors them. Ensure your custom thumbnail is properly uploaded because sometimes that automated thumbnail tricks you into thinking you're all set. Verify that your clickable cards actually point to the right place, and make sure your end screens don't pop up too early and block the actual content. Right before you hit publish, do a live view of the private upload and manually test every single link in your description to make sure nothing is broken. By fully embracing the minimum viable video, nailing that holy trifecta, leveraging the right toolkit and AI copilots, and relying on a strict quality control system, you can confidently reduce your production time from an exhausting, endless grind down to just 3 to 4 hours per highly optimized piece of content. That is the true power of this system. Ultimately, this explainer proves that consistency paired with strategy is always going to beat aimless perfection. When we look at the data and these systems, the path forward is incredibly clear. So the question I want to leave you with today is this. Are you going to spend another 100 hours overthinking a single piece of content that might completely bomb? Or are you ready to stop overthinking and start building your own content growth engine today?